All right, so this video has three purposes. First of all, I just want to vent a little bit about how yesterday went when I was leading worship. You know, we as humans, we all want to be known. We want to be understood. We want others to share in our pain. And I just want to bring you in a little bit to share with you what I went through, just to let you know that we all go through different things. Second, I want to give you some wisdom on how to handle days like that. Like when you're in the thick of it, how do you still lead when things are going wrong? And then one after another, they keep going wrong. And then you think it's done. And then one more thing goes wrong. Like, how do you still lead your people? I want to give you some tips that helped me, that helped center me yesterday, and things I did right, things I did wrong. I'm going to talk through the things that happened that were not great, and talk through things that I would have done differently or things that I did do to make it through the day. The third purpose of this video is to put together, to reassemble my church worship pedal board, because it is all in pieces. Let me show you. In a minute, I'm going to tell you why it's all in pieces. This is it. This is my church pedal board. Big old board. This used to be my personal board, actually, and this is what it looks like now. It's not hooked up. It's all just out, and we got to get it all back together. Now, if you're new to this channel, my name is Jimmy Cooper. I created Hey Worship Leader as a resource. I make videos because I love helping worship leaders be the best they can be. I want to help them any way I can, because honestly, I didn't have that when I was first getting started. I post videos every week, so hit the notification bell so it can update you when I put out new content. And also, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. YouTube is telling me that like 64% of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button, because it really helps out the channel. And if you like this video, do what everybody tells you to do. I mean, you know what to do. If you like the video, hit the like button. But most importantly, I want to hear from you. I want to hear some stories of like the worst thing or the worst series of things that's happened to you as you've been leading worship. I mean, because it happens to all of us. It happens all the time. I want to hear your stories. Comment down below. All right, I got my new top-down camera. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Look at it. If you didn't see it in the other video, I mounted this and I'm excited, but I got this huge pedal board that's got to fit on here. I don't even know if I got it high enough to capture it, because my pedal board is really small. So we're gonna see. Let's see what happens. So first of all, let me just set all these pedals to the side. We're gonna go through these and I'll show you them close up and show you what they do and the order I put them in. But right now, we just gotta get this off of here. I think this was the problem. We haven't got there yet. Board. So this is the Pedal Train PT2. PT2. I think that's what it's called. It's this big by this big. I don't know how big it is. I don't remember. Let's see, will it fit on my camera up here? Oh man. Okay, we can almost get the whole pedal board in the shot. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tell you things that went wrong this week, the reason this board is all disassembled. To get it built, we're gonna build it. I'm gonna give you some tips on what I did to make it through the weekend. And then once I build it, we're gonna plug it through the HX Stomp and let you hear what it sounds like. Because honestly, I've never done that. I've never heard this board through the Stomp, so we're gonna get to do that together. Now, the first thing that went wrong, it's not that it went wrong, is that we didn't have midweek rehearsal like we normally do. We normally have rehearsal on Wednesday night, 6 to 7:30, but if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I led worship at a youth camp all week, and so I canceled midweek rehearsal because I couldn't make it. So we started off Sunday morning a little bit behind from where we normally are, because we didn't have the chance to have that rehearsal. Now, for every one of these points, I'm gonna give you like the tip that's either helped me, something that went well, or something I would do better in the future. And for this first one, the thing that made not having rehearsal kind of okay is, and I said this in one of my previous videos, is that I've been using Ableton Live, and it is a lifesaver. I took a course through churchfront.com, and it was great. It really helped me like grasp and understand Ableton to the point where I'm pretty proficient at it now, pretty proficient. And one of the things I do is, after I've made like my tracks for each song, I export an MP3 as a practice track that has the whole practice track with the click and cues built in, and I upload those in the key that we're gonna do them in to Planning Center way ahead of time. If you don't make it a priority to resource your team well, you need to do that. You need to give them a reliable chord chart, an MP3 in the right key, and if you have this, like we've been doing, uploading those practice tracks has really helped. Now, the second thing that happened that led to the day falling apart is that I was behind schedule. I was a little bit late getting to the church, and I'm never late. I don't like being late. I like being early and on time. I was early to start my day. I got out of the house on time. All that was fine. And I did my normal routine, which is drive to a specific location, where I can just clear my mind and I actually run through the set list and kind of get in my head again after the weekend, our weekend, Friday through Saturday. I get in my head again what the day's gonna look like, and I pray through the set list again. I sing through it again. I go through Ableton. I use Ableton to kind of remind myself how the service is gonna go, and then if I messed up anything, I'd like to fix it. Well, I was doing that like I always do, and I noticed that there was an extra bridge that I really just didn't want to sing. One, because I was at youth camp and my voice is tired. I didn't want to sing this bridge, so I was trying to take it out, and the reason I was late is because I just kept messing up. I said I was proficient. I took the course on Ableton, but this one thing I was just like, I kept cutting a chunk out, and I kept cutting off like the one, and so I couldn't get it to be on beat, and I was running out of time, and honestly I had to go to the bathroom. It's hard to focus when you have to go to the bathroom, and I kept looking at the clock. I was like, oh no, I'm late. I gotta go to the bathroom. It's not fixed yet. I'll fix it when I get there. So I shut the laptop, headed back over to the church, went to the bathroom, and then I fixed Ableton, and it was fine. But I was a little bit late, and so since I was late, I didn't have any wireless things like I normally do. I love being wireless as a worship leader. I use the little, where are they? Still in my backpack because I was going to use them yesterday. I use the new HX wireless guitar system. I love these things. I had some problems with them at my church at some point, or we thought there was a problem, but I used them at the youth camp all week long, 8 different sessions, never had a problem. Used them with a wireless in-ear pack, and also right next to my other Shure wireless guitar system for my acoustic. Never had a problem out of them. I'm more and more impressed with these. If you want to get your hands on them, I have an Amazon link down below. Check them out. Anyways, I love being wireless because if something goes wrong, I don't have to unplug to go like do something. Like we have Ableton back at the drum cage, and so if I need to adjust something, I always have to undo my ears, undo my guitar, set it down, walk back there, try to fix it, but then I don't have my ears in to tell if it's right. And so I really like being wireless, but I was late, so I didn't have time to set up all my wireless stuff. Anyways, all that to say, I was late getting to the church, which just kind of added a layer of stress. So tip number 2, if we're talking about tips, try not to make last minute changes like I did. If I had planned ahead a little bit better, the problem is I underestimated how tired my voice would be after leading worship at camp all week. But I don't make a lot of changes like that, but it did add to the layer of stress. And that on its own wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but I'm just talking about all these little things that compounded to make yesterday just a crazy day. All right, the third thing that happened that is the most embarrassing of all the things that went wrong was that I forgot that I was playing electric guitar. You see, we don't have any more electric guitars at our church, and so I've been holding down the acoustic guitar for a while now, and I just leave a few of the electric guitars that are important in the Ableton tracks. But yesterday I actually had Rachel, she's on my team, and she was playing acoustic, and she actually reminded me that I was playing electric while I was pulling in the driveway of the church, the parking lot of the church. She texted me and was like, hey, did you bring your acoustic? Because she uses my acoustic when she plays. And I was like, yes, I did bring my acoustic because I thought I was playing it. I forgot my electric at home. So I didn't have my guitar. I didn't have my HX Stomp, my pedalboard. I didn't have any of that at church. And so I was like, what am I gonna do? So the good news is I was able to use our church's backup pedalboard. Hence, everything that's messed up about it. But I was able to use the pedalboard. We have a backup pedalboard and a guitar amp. We have a Fender Blues Junior. I don't have it here. I don't have any footage of it, but I have all that. I don't have an extra guitar, but a friend of mine left his guitar there, so there was an extra guitar there. So I was like, I have everything I need. Don't worry about it. I'm a little late. I'm a little flustered, but let's hook all this up. Our sound guys had to adjust. We have some ISO boxes in the back, but we haven't used them forever because everybody has been using Helix, or I use HX Stomp, so we haven't used a live amp in forever. But I was able to throw it into the ISO box, mic it up, and get sound immediately. So the reason I wanted to bring this specific point up is to give you tip number 3, and that is to be very redundant, especially when you're talking about like backup gear. If I wouldn't have prioritized having like a backup pedal board and amp, then I would have just been at church and there was no time to go home and get my stuff. She was playing acoustic, I could have just not led with any instrument. I guess that would have been fine. That would have been my only option. But because I prioritized having backup gear for multiple reasons, I was able to get this out and plug it up. So as a worship leader, know things are gonna go wrong. Be very redundant in how you prepare for things. Think of worst case scenario. And when you do, when the worst case scenario happens, you've already thought about it. Now I say all that, but the fourth thing that went wrong is that I plugged the pedal board up and it wasn't working properly. All right, so check this out. Oh, well, I forgot my stomp today, so I'm running the old church board, except I'm not running it. I'm just bypassing the whole thing because something is wrong with the board. Somewhere there was a cable that was kind of shorting out. I didn't have a good, strong signal. It was kind of going in and out. And this huge pedal board, I was like, oh no, where's the problem? I'm already behind schedule. We are supposed to be doing sound check by now. No, we're in the middle of sound check. We're supposed to be rehearsing by now, and I don't even know where to begin. And the thing that got me is like not even a month ago, I went into the church building like on a Thursday or something, plugged this board up, plugged the amp up because it had been sitting a while just to make sure it works, just in case, being redundant, making sure everything works just in case. And the day I got there, something wasn't working, even though I prepared. So what I did, I have a picture of it somewhere, maybe I could put it on the video, is that I had the pedal board out with all the pedals, but the wire coming from the amp just went straight to my guitar. That's all I could do. I just had a straight, dry, edge of breakup tone, which wasn't the worst in the world, but it was just really, really dry. Not the best. It worked good for the first song because it was kind of like an upbeat, driving, kind of overdriven, dry kind of tone that was needed, but the rest of the songs were more ambient and you know, we got through it, but it wasn't the best. And so if there's a tip, if you want to call this a tip, it just made me thankful for the HX Stomp, my mini board. I went from this big old board to another big old board and constantly had issues. I would rewire things up and think through every detail, and then I would get somewhere live and I'm like, there's a noise somewhere. Maybe some cable just kind of, a screw got loose, or it's coming out of the jack or something. And I don't have those problems anymore with my little mini beautiful pedal board, because if everything else breaks down, I can at least come out of the Stomp and use the Stomp as an all-in-one rig. I don't have to worry about all these other pedals. I could bypass them. Now I like these other pedals, I don't have to use them. And so it just made me thankful for the HX Stomp. And so I was thinking, if there's a tip and you have the money to do this, get an HX Stomp at least as a backup rig, because it can be an all-in-one. You have the amp, the cab, the effects, everything you need in such a small little box. Now the next thing, and this doesn't have anything to do with like my gear necessarily, but talking about the wireless thing, one of my volunteers walked away during, right after rehearsal. We were going to pray and she walked away and her in-ears were still plugged in. Happens to me, happens all the time. I did it a few weeks ago because I'm so used to being wireless. And when I'm not wireless, I almost forget. Yesterday I was already on edge, so I was like, I'm making sure I'm unplugged. But anyways, she forgot to do that. So she walked through and it knocked over her in-ear. We have the Behringer P16s. It knocked over that on the stand, knocked over my guitar, which is not my guitar, somebody else's guitar. And it fell over flat. The tuner went rolling. I had a little headstock tuner and it rolled in pieces, and it's just like, what else could go wrong today? Luckily nothing happened. The guitar stayed in tune. Everything is fine. It was fine. The P16 works. But I was like, man, today is just one of those days. And guess what? It wasn't over yet. The sixth thing that went wrong that made everything crazy was that, like I said, my laptop that runs Ableton is back in the drum cage. The drummers trigger Ableton for us. We made it through the first set fine. We left the stage while the preaching was happening. We come back. I'm up there. I've got my guitar. I say something like, please, let's stand and respond to what we've just heard. Something like that. And I'm waiting and I don't hear anything. And I look back and the drummer's trying to get my attention. He's like, the computer's locked. Oh my goodness, I set the computer so that it won't sleep. I don't know, why did it do that? It did that a few weeks ago, but I've checked it. It shouldn't do that. Of course, today of all days, the computer's gonna go to sleep. I'm already up there, I'm plugged in. I'm not wireless. I have to unplug everything. Everybody's staring at me. The whole church is staring at me, but I did a good job. I think I did. Anyway, somebody after the service told me, they're like, hey, you handled that really well. And I was like, thank you. And so I thought, well, I thought of something. I've thought about this before, and let's just make it a tip, is that when things go crazy, when things are just not working out, don't freak out, stay calm. You can't help it. You know, I could have just made it awkward, because it's kind of awkward anyways, but I just like, when I asked everybody to stand, let's sing in response to what we just heard, I looked back, noticed there was a problem, I'm gonna have to go back and fix it. I just went back up to the mic and I was like, well, we'll sing right after I go turn the computer on. And I was just, everybody kind of chuckled and it made the moment not so awkward. And I just calmly put down my stuff. I'm like, they know what I gotta do. I walked back there, undo the computer, you know, put in the password, told the drummer the password in case it happened again. I should have told him before. Anyways, but I got up there, put on my guitar, put on my in-ears, went to the mic, and then I continued. And I just wanted to say that people know you're a person. Like, what that reminded me is that they know I'm a real person, and it helped me when they kind of chuckled at my failure that they're real people too. And it makes it, I think people tend to get super awkward in moments like that because they freeze up, and you just remember, we're all just people. We're all just here worshiping God. They didn't pay tickets to come see you perform well. They're just here to worship God, and things happen. We hope they don't happen often, but when they do, you know, there's grace there. So don't freak out. Don't get weird. Don't get awkward. Stay calm. Do what you have to do. Fix the problem. Even if it takes a few minutes of just complete silence, it's okay. It's okay. So that was tip number 6, and you'd think we'd be done. No. The 7th problem that made the day just ugh was that I got plugged back in. I went up to the mic. I have my guitar. I said, now we can sing. And I waited. And I waited. And I looked back at the drummer, and he's like, I did it. I pushed the button. And what we didn't know at the time, we didn't even know until after, is that the sound guy accidentally had the click and loop in a mute group that was still muted. It was muted back at the board. So even though the drummer had hit go and he sees that the computer is going, we didn't hear anything. We had no cues. We were waiting on intro, 2, 3, 4. Nothing happened. And so as soon as I looked back and I realized that, well, there's another problem, I just said, same kind of tip. I was like, all right, let's just sing the song. And I led the song with my dry guitar tone. I just started strumming. It was Death Was Arrested, and I kind of did the 6/8 little gallop, and it ended up being fine. It was fine. But it was one of those things where it was like, what else could go wrong? And so there was no other option than just to, and this is your last tip, tip number 7, just go with it. When things are happening, they're wrong, you still have to lead. Ableton's not leading the people. If I get flustered, I'm not leading my people well, so I just led the song. I know the song. Let's just lead it. It doesn't matter if every other instrument in the building shuts off. We can sing the song even if it's a cappella. All right, so what's good is we had 2 services. And so between the services, I just started ripping this pedal board apart because I was like, I want to have a pedal board. I want to have overdrive. I want to have some delay. I want to have some reverb. I'm going to find the problem and fix it.
All right, between services and just redid everything. Now I got a good tone.
And I did. I just started taking off pedals, and that's why we got to put it back together again. All right, let's put this pedal board together. So the first pedal we have here is the Emerson Custom Guitars Transparent M Drive, Transparent Overdrive. I love putting this first in the signal because it helps kind of just shape the overall tone of the amp. Kind of gives the Blues Junior a little bit more gain, a little more breakup that I like. That's a different tone than when you're cranking the Blues Junior by itself. So I put this up here near the top. Let's just kind of space these out. The next overdrive pedal is the Love Pedal Eternity Fuse. I love this. This is more of a Tube Screamer type of pedal. It is transparent-ish. It has this glass tone roll-off knob and 3 different clipping options here. I keep it in the middle. I usually keep the drive down most of the way. These settings here, and I like to put this down here as my second stage overdrive. Now, the next pedal I want to talk about, because I'm actually going to change the order. I used to have a tremolo that was later in the chain, and I switched it out for this, but this is the Micropog, but this is the Electro-Harmonix Micropog, and I actually want to put this first in the chain before anything else, because these tend to sound a little better, and I would definitely want to try it. I've never had this anywhere else in the chain because, like I said, I always just put it last. So I'm actually going to put this first in the chain today so that we can try it out. And I just told you the order of these overdrive pedals, but I'm actually going to switch them just to play around. So I'm going to go into the Love pedal first and then go into the M drive, because they both can get pretty dirty, and so sometimes I like to have the boost type, which I'm going to start using this a little more as a boost rather than the gain. And so I'm going to put this boost after my overdrive so that the boosts the overdrive signal rather than just compressing it more. Then we have the Boss Chromatic TU2 tuner. This thing's the bomb, the Boss bomb. Then we have the Ernie Ball VP Volume Pedal Junior. There's a reason you see a lot of these on boards. They're just really good for the price. Really nice. I like having this mid pedal board. I like to come out of my volume pedal with the Boss DD20. This thing is amazing. Like, I was able to just program 4 different presets for our 4 different songs. You can have the 5th one on the like the live mode here. You can scroll through your presets really easily. You can dial in the effect level, the feedback, the tone, select your, it's all very tactile. Scroll through the different tempo types, on, off. This thing is amazing. I don't use the tap tempo on this. I use the tap tempo on this, but honestly, I never use the tap tempo because it's so easy to just plug in the BPM. I'm trying to figure out how close I want this. Let's go right there for now. I have two reverb pedals here. This is the Mr. Black Supermoon. This is really good modulated reverb. I love this reverb. It has a sway knob in the middle, which is a modulation. It gets really modulated if you want it to. I put it on subtle, and this is kind of like my always on reverb because it's true bypass and does not have trails. So that's what stinks about this. I've talked about it on my channel before. I'm gonna put this up here because it's my always on reverb. And because it's my always on reverb, I don't have to toggle it on and off. This is the one that is my ambient reverb. Now it would be cool if it was up here, but I'm wondering if I have room to put this here because this is like the one I click on. Oh, it's the New Neighbor mono wet reverb. This is not a stereo rig. This is just mono going into 1 amp. I love this because it's not true to bypass. So it has trails on it. So I can click it on, click it off, and the sound will keep going. So I love this. Put this at the end because I love clicking this on and off. The last one here is this little pedal, the Ditto Looper. I love the Ditto Looper because you can make your own pads with it like I've done on this channel several times with this thing. You press it once to start recording, press it again, it'll keep playing, press it again, it'll overdub or like layer on top. I think if you hold it for a second, it takes off the last layer that you recorded. If you double click and hold, it erases. So yeah, pretty good. Overall volume knob, love this thing. And the Velcro fell off, so we need to go get some more. I mean, I have dual lock over there for some future pedalboard builds that are coming around the corner very soon. For those of you who know, I was giving away the new XFX pedals. I'm still waiting. They're sending one more pedal, but it's like on hold. Like the government is holding a shipment and that pedal is apparently in it. So I've seen that it's been shipped, but it also says it's on hold and it says, come back tomorrow to get an update. And every time I come back, there's no update. So who knows? I may never get that pedal. If I wait too long, I'll just make the board without that pedal, I guess. Oh, I also have this one's mine. This is the tap tempo that I use for the Boss DD20. Just simple, go right in, tap tempo, love that thing. Let's put it right here on the edge. You see that? I put it on the edge. And a Ditto Looper. I like this to be last in my chain because, well, if you loop something that's not last in your chain, then you'll miss whatever doesn't go into it. Does that make sense? I need Velcro. All right, I'm in a hurry. My wife has to leave like in less than an hour and I still wanted to finish this, plug it in, and I wanted to hear it before we leave. So let's get this on here. So let's talk power supply. How do I power all these pedals? You'll never believe it. I actually had some noisy pedals on here years ago. Let's put this right up here in the corner. Do I want to do that? No, I'm gonna put it right here. How does that look? That looks pretty good, I think. Believe it or not, the cleanest solution I've had with this pedal board is the one spot. And I daisy chain all of these. I'm telling you, it was noisy. One time I bought online, I bought the, what was it, the T-Rex or something? It was pretty expensive. Had 8 outputs. It was noisy still. The noisy pedals that I have, I don't have anymore, but with these pedals here, I have found that I can use this and it works completely fine, and I just daisy chain them. So let's get the daisy chain. I think this is like 30 bucks. It's not bad at all. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pedals that need to be powered, and this has 8 things. Now before I had 9 pedals, but I used this little small individual cable to come out of the Boss tuner. If you don't know and you need one more power spot, they have a power out that you can power one more pedal with out of the Boss. Pretty cool little hack. I do want this to look good. I'm gonna try to feed everything underneath as well as possible. Power the delay, power the Supermoon, go ahead and power the looper. Okay, let's wire this thing up. I'll be coming into the POG and go effects out. I'm gonna go from the tuner, my overdrives. All right, now the M drive into the volume. If you know me, you know I like to put my drives before the volume because if you put it after the volume, if you put your drives after the volume, when you take down the volume pedal, it actually takes away the gain. So it's acting kind of like a tone as well as volume. But if you put it after, you don't mess with the tone of the pedal. You keep the same gain, you're just taking away pure volume. Out of the volume pedal into the delay. We will leave that reverb and go up to the looper, and that will be our new out. Then we will go from the This One's Mine tap tempo into what is labeled control pedal. That should be it right there. Let's plug it up to the HX Stomp and see if it actually makes some noise. All right, let's start from scratch. We'll just kind of walk through the chain real quick. I just drug in a Princess amp, tweaked a few settings. I am on the neck pickup humbuckers. How I like to use the octave is it's just to add a little octave up for like solos and stuff where I want to cut through the mix. Let's go through the drive. Well, we can tune first. Let's tune. All right, here is the love pedal. I'm going to turn the drive down. I'd probably run it somewhere like that. The M drive, I know that the gain on the M drive gets a little flubby, a little heavy, at least it did on my Blues Junior. Let's check out the volume here. I usually just put these about here. Let's check out the gain. That actually sounds pretty good. There's just a lot of bass with that gain. I wish there was a bass roll off. So I like bringing the gain down. That sounds pretty good. I might would bring in a little more gain. Alright, next we have the Supermoon here. I'll just put things at noon. I'm going to take some bass out of the amp. So that'll go on forever. Now that pedal is a little noisy. I hear a little noise. Or I did. Let's bump this sway up. So I don't like having that one as ambient. We'll bring it down. Even with the decay all the way off. I mean, it is an ambient reverb. The only problem is it has no trails. Like, you can make this go forever. And it shuts right off. That was the Pog. I put it on a little less dialed in. And we have our delay. So we can choose what we want. So let's put the level here, feedback here. Let's do analog. This is one of the things I find difficult on the Stomp sometimes, is to get the repeats loud enough without taking your original tone away. Because once you get to 50, sometimes I feel like 50 on the slider in the HX Stomp of the delays is not enough delay. But if you start going above 50, it starts taking away your original tone. I like that this is like really, it's almost like the repeat is louder, but you didn't take away your original tone. Which is good for dotted eighth type stuff. Let's try some different. This is the modulated setting.
Anyways, analog, really warm. That's no delay. That's no reverb. That's just delay. That was fun. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hopefully the story of me going through a terrible Sunday, even though it wasn't a terrible Sunday. Let me just follow up and say God was still worshiped. I was able to pull through and just lead the people, lead my team well. We had a great prayer time and the day was actually great. We had people come up and say, man, worship was great today. So all that to say, even with all that stuff that was a bad day, God still used it. And it just reminds us that no matter what we do, like God is the one who moves people. He calls people to himself, and we are obedient and serve him in that, but it doesn't rise or fall based on what we do. God will move. And so just be encouraged with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.